We give you our best bets for the Super Bowl with some props. We're going to break down a loaded Senior Bowl roster as we get ready to go live there Wednesday, and we're going to react to some craziness in the sports world. Catch it more on the Tuesday, almost live edition of Crane & Company. All right, David, we're going to get to our preview, prediction, and bet for the Super Bowl. There's a lot to break down. But first, just to overlay it for the people, and you can tell, obviously, we're not live. Surprise, surprise. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We'll be back live tomorrow morning from the Senior Bowl. Really excited about that. But, David, tell everybody the spread and the over-under. We're going to get into some props, and we're going to turn this into an actor's studio.
Yeah, we're going to break down all these lines, but right now, +1 Chiefs, -1 49ers, the same as yesterday when we talked about it, but the Chiefs were +110 yesterday, and the line keeps jumping. It's going to change even throughout today's show, but as we sit here right now, the latest update, -105 Chiefs on the money line, -115 49ers, over-under 47.5. How do you expect that line to move?
Well, look, I think it's going to fluctuate back and forth. I think it may go up and then come back down. I hope it settles at 47.5. I'm going to take the over. I can go ahead and tell you right now, there's no way I'm not taking the over. As good as the Chiefs have played on defense, and again, we've talked about this, till we're blue in the face. That's kind of been, what's kept them going not only through the regular season, but even during this offensive renaissance. I mean, you did only score 17 points against the Ravens, who have a hell of a defense. But I do feel like the 49ers, with the weapons that they have, I know they've been kind of hanging by a moment, and it seems like they're having to come back from the depths in each one of these games. But Debo looked pretty healthy to me running around, right? We know what they have in George Kittle. We know what they have in C-Mac. Brock Purdy's showing you that he can elevate his game when he has to. And then obviously Brandon Ayuk with some massive plays. There's so many weapons. And I do want to say this. I feel like there will be a defensive touchdown in this game. I really do believe that. Most of the time when that happens, whether it's a touchdown on defense, whether it's a touchdown on special teams, the over does hit. But I want to start with the Chiefs in this game. Because again, when I look at what's happening with the 49ers, it feels like the Chiefs have been dominating, right? I know they only won by 7, but they dominated that game against the Ravens. They led wire to wire. They were able to do what they wanted to do. They didn't have the greatest run game ever of all time, but it was good enough to open up the play action. And then defensively, they were able to stop the run. But, when I look at this defense, the way they match up to the 49ers, I do think the 49ers will be able to run the ball as good as Chris Jones and them have been. The question to me is down the field, can Brandon Ayuk make the plays? Can Jawan Jennings make the plays? We know what George Kittle is going to have. I do think they're going to be able, talking about the 49ers, to hit some plays down the field, which will take a little bit of pressure off the run game, and I think it'll get the Chiefs out of the box. Obviously not against heavier personnels. But I'm just having a hard time convincing myself to bet against Patrick Mahomes now in the playoffs. I physically can't do it. Like I've tried, I've gone over the scenarios in my head, and at some point, when you've watched Patrick Mahomes and these guys make every single play when it counts on offense and defense, and make the field goals when they have to on special teams, and pin guys deep on special teams, I just can't bet against Patrick Mahomes. I can't, as much as I like Brock Purdy, I love the Mr. Irrelevant narrative versus obviously the chosen one, right? In Patrick Mahomes. But it's just at some point, man, and I don't think it's scripted. I don't think it's something that the NFL's that they're rigging. I just feel like the Chiefs are that good, and Patrick Mahomes, man, whether it's to Travis Kelce, whether it's to MVS, who couldn't catch a case if he got caught on CCTV committing the crime, but yet these last 2 games makes huge plays. David, I just can't bet against the Chiefs, man. I can't do it.
If it were just Patrick Mahomes, that would be one thing, right? But Travis Kelce is playing at a higher level than we've seen throughout this entire season from when he got injured at the beginning of the year. And as great of a play caller as Kyle Shanahan is going to be entering this game, Andy Reid is every bit the play caller and the coach and has all the postseason and regular season experience that we've seen over the last couple decades. And then like we talked about yesterday, this defense is truly incredible. Yes, Patrick Mahomes does not have that true wide receiver one anymore since Tyreek Hill left, but this is the best defense that he's played with. We're talking about a defense that just held Lamar Jackson to 7 points for 3.5 quarters and 10 points total in the game. Like, what they've done this year is truly incredible. So when you add up all of those pieces, I'm just looking like, man, you have everything you need to be able to win these big-time games. They went on the road to Buffalo. Josh Allen played really, really well. They beat that team. You go on the road to play the Ravens team, who we thought for the last 6 to 8 weeks was pretty much unbeatable. They beat Lamar Jackson, hold them to 10 points. So I'm looking like, and you're going to be in really like plus money taking the Chiefs from a betting standpoint. It just seems like the smart play to me.
Well, it's almost, and Blaine, I'm going to see what you think about this. And the Patriots had this. Like, and the greatest ones do. It's like the Tiger Woods effect. It's not just that you're going to go out there and play well. Patrick Mahomes did not have his best game in the playoffs. Offensively, they did not have their best games in the playoffs. But it's like they're so, and I don't know if intimidating is the right word. Maybe it is. But there's just some substance to them that makes the other superstar wilt when it matters. Hit that ball in the water on the playoff hole. You look at Lamar Jackson's numbers. Josh Allen, when they have to have it, couldn't finish the job. There's just something about it, Blaine. It just reminds me of Tiger Woods. That's the best way I can put it. Y'all, not only can we go take the game from you, but we'll let you blow it first, and then we'll take it from you.
Well, the one thing the Chiefs don't do, and they haven't done this in years, is they're not going to beat themselves. And I think that's a lot to do with Andy Reid and this way he coaches these guys. And the Chiefs, like, look, when the stars are needed the most, the stars shows up in big games. You kind of related to Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce did not have a great year. A career low in yards, I believe, catches. But once the playoffs turn on, this Chiefs team turned into a complete different monster. Once the playoffs go, you bring out defense, you give up 7 points to the Dolphins. One of the best offenses in the NFL. I don't think that defense played great against Buffalo, but I feel like they played good enough.
They got the stops when they needed.
You gave up 24 points. Then you give up 10 points to the Ravens. But I will say this. Styles make fights, all right? And this game they're about to play against the 49ers, that defense will get tested on every level, all right? Christian McCaffrey is the best running back in the NFL. And you saw what they just put up against him. So you're going to be out to stop him. And then the key to this game, Brandon Ayuk's going to be matched up against L'Jarius Sneed the whole night. That's going to be a tough matchup. Deebo Samuel will be the key for the 49ers. I really believe so because he's such a nightmare matchup, especially for linebackers or safeties one-on-one, and I think Brock Purdy will be able to take advantage of that. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I like the over in this game. The NFL wants points in this game. I think you're going to get that. I do think the Chiefs, there's something about them. You brought up, you can bring up the Patriots, but their bag is so deep when it comes to football. They can give it to you any kind of way. Like you played against the Ravens, ran it 32 times in your mouth. You go against the Bills game, threw it. I think Pat almost had 300 yards. Whatever way they have to win, they will do it.
Well, and David, too, the way the 49ers have been playing, this get off to a bad start thing that they've got going on, the way the Chiefs are playing and the way Patrick Mahomes and them are structured, if you get down like you've gotten down to the Packers, especially the way you got down to the Lions, 14-0 out of the gate, they won't let you back in it. They won't make the mistakes that will let you back in it, right? That's the difference, and I think Blaine brought that up. But if we're going to go to styles make fights, here's where, if I'm the 49ers fan, I'm worried. Brock Purdy does a really good job as a smaller guy, right, of being able to manipulate in the short range and the intermediate range especially and find guys. But he does get passes batted down a lot. Seems like more than just about anybody. And you look at the way Kansas City plays up front and how smart they are and guys like Chris Jones in clutch situations. A batted down pass on third down is pretty much as good as a sack. Yeah. It's as good as shoving the run when they try and surprise you with the draw. So I worry about that. But then again, one of the elements, and this is where the chess match really takes place, is if you're the secondary of the Chiefs, how much man do you play? How much zone do you play? Because if you're going to play a lot of man, Brock Purdy has shown you the ability with his legs to extend drives. And if you get caught with your pants down, having to say, good God, I look out here and there's Deebo Samuel, and there's Ayuk, and there's Jawan, and there's George, and oh dear Lord, they just bumped Christian McCaffrey out to make it empty, or they just short motioned him out to basically create another wide receiver, another slot guy. If you get caught in man, he can hurt you. Do you play a lot of zone and give Brock Purdy that out early, right? And let him manipulate it where the ball's not getting batted down as much? That's third down play calling, as usual, is going to be crazy. But the more I sit here, and Blaine, you're right with Christian McCaffrey. The difference is, last week against the Ravens, if no yards were there, they weren't getting yards. It was 2nd and 9, 2nd and 10. With Christian McCaffrey, if there's no yards there, somehow it ends up 2nd and 6. And that's, to me, it's not the long runs only. It's not the home runs, which everybody loves. Look, chicks love to dig the long ball. I get it. Guys love to see 80-yard touchdown runs and 50-yard touchdown runs. It's all right, the hole's not there, second option's not there, the box is full, yet I somehow find a way to get 3 yards. That, to me, is going to be one of the biggest factors in this game, but the 49ers cannot get off to a slow start.
Yeah, I agree. I was interested to see what the Chiefs will do against Lamar on the very first third down of that game, and they came after him, and they got a 3 and out. So Lamar Jackson, more than any other quarterback in the league, can hurt you with his legs if you play man coverage behind, or if you turn your back, or if you overrush him on the edges. And they just held that offense to 10 points. So while Brock Purdy certainly can hurt you with his legs, you just had the greatest test of a quarterback being able to do that against the Ravens. And Steve Spagnuolo and that defense certainly rose to the occasion. That's one of the reasons I'm not quite as optimistic yet about the over as you guys are. Maybe I'll get there because certainly I understand the logic with just all of these weapons running around the field. But I think the line is pretty much right, 47 and a half.
It should be a pick 'em.
And if both offenses have the type of success they want, what does that mean? They'll both be running the ball a lot and chewing a lot of clock.
I don't know how much Spags is going to bring this game, to be honest, because the 49ers are one of the best screen teams in the NFL. If you're going to bring it on third down, they'll hit Debo.
Well, you can throw a screen to anybody.
They hit Debo on the tunnel. Hell, you can hit George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey out of the backfield is an absolute nightmare. And if you're going to bring him, I feel like if there's anybody, Shanahan knows how to call against it. So I'm really interested to see how Spags calls on defense because he's known throughout the league of bringing it where you don't think it's coming on third down. I would love to see how Shanahan Brock Purdy.
Yeah, I want to make it. I don't want to get some of these props, but I wonder, and I throw this question to you. Yes, the Chiefs shut down Lamar Jackson running, and you heard the broadcasters, the commentators during the game, talking about how Spags was just emphasizing that all week. Here's how you beat Lamar, right? You cage him up in the pocket, right? When he does get out, you make him go east and west, and there was obviously an emphasis on stopping Lamar Jackson's legs. Not to say they would underrate Brock Purdy's legs, but when you do go from a Lamar Jackson to a Brock Purdy, do you get a little bit less disciplined in that pass rush, right? Not relaxed per se, but do you kind of take those extra chances? And sometimes they pay off and sometimes they don't. My question is, I just feel like the Chiefs need to make sure that they don't lose emphasis on, hey, this guy, you look at him, you watch him on film, he looks like Feifel's going west. I get it. He's not intimidating or scaring anybody, but he can take off and hurt us. He's got just enough of that wiggle, and he's just slippery enough to, it's 3rd and 6. We've done a really good job locking him up. We ran by him. He realizes it's man. He escapes up, runs to the sideline, and gets 6.5. So that's the part I make.
Yeah, and they may have their hands full with every other position, like you were talking about. You know, when you try, you have to accommodate for Debo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk, and then George Kittle and Christian McCaffrey, and so maybe it won't even be overlooking Brock Purdy as much as just, hey, something has to give eventually. But this is a defense that 27 points is the most they've given up the entire season, and that was to the Packers in a loss on the road at the Packers. And the 49ers have only given up over 30 points once. So we're talking about 2 premier defenses here, which is crazy when we're also talking about a team with play callers like Andy Reid and Kyle Shanahan, Patrick Mahomes, and Travis Kelce involved.
But man, doesn't it seem like the Niners are just getting ran over?
Well,
didn't it just look like the Packers?
I saw a play yesterday with Chase Young.
Which they said he's not starting. He's not going to start.
And I can see why. With some of the effort I saw yesterday, it was absolutely
How can you not give effort?
Embarrassing on
NFC
David Montgomery's touchdown run.
Like, it just, I watched the Packers. You know how sometimes you're watching teams, you're like, man, they're running the ball really well. And then you're watching teams, and you're like, God, I mean, they're getting chunks. They're just on roller skates. It seemed like, man, and for a long time against the Lions were going to the well whenever they wanted and at least getting something.
Well, it feels like when the 49ers lost their Pro Bowl safety, it kind of got a little bit shaky, right? A little bit, because they always had that comfort in the back end of him to where you can trust these guys up front. Because, look, they got guys. I mean, you got Fred Warner. You got Greenlaw, who's going to be healthy walking in this game, which is big. I don't think he was super healthy in
that hit with him and Laporta.
But, I mean, guys, they gave up 182 on the ground versus the Lions. Okay, and if you're going to give that up against the Lions, who's a good running team, one of the most underrated offensive line in the league, you're going to give up some yards to the Chiefs after what they just did against the Ravens between the tackles, which nobody could do in the NFL. So this 49ers defense is not the same as it was. It's not as healthy.
Yeah.
But they got underrated guys on this. I mean, you look at Armstead, absolute dog, Randy Gregory, dog, Bosa. They got guys who can run around and play football. It always comes down to this game. Whoever commits the turnover loses. Right?
Well,
Whoever commits
how
the
Chiefs
turnover
have been playing.
loses.
Really.
Like you go back and look at the Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen era, who usually whoever commits other than this year, whoever commits the turnover loses. Right? I feel like will be this.
Well, see, that's where that batted ball, man. The spidey senses are just tingling that there's a bat ball interception, and I go back. There's a clip I want everybody to watch. Go back to the Cheez-It Bowl. And I know you say, oh, it's the Cheez-It Bowl. Oh, it's college. It really doesn't matter. Go back and watch that game. What were the biggest plays in that game? They were batted balls with Brock Purdy at quarterback for Iowa State that in big moments ended up being turnovers, including, I think, a pick six off of it. I can just see in a clutch situation, Chris Jones batting a ball up and somebody from the Chiefs intercepting it. I don't know why. But if the 49ers don't wake up early in the games, they're going to be behind the A-ball anyway. It's not going to matter. Speaking about waking up, you know what we wake up with in our cup? Black Rifle Coffee. That's exactly right. They fuel the Daily Wire every morning. Tackling the problems of today. And not only do they have ready-to-drink cans for people with no time to brew coffee, or as we call it, they have an up-tempo offensive lifestyle, no time to brew coffee. They have the ready-to-drink cans. You need to make sure to check those out. But their coffee subscription gives you the chance to purchase limited edition flavors that give you nothing but the best. And it's a veteran-founded coffee company operated by principal men and women who honor those who protect, defend, and support our country. And with every purchase you make, they give back. So save money and drink America's coffee. Go to blackriflecoffee.com. Use promo code BOOSTER, it's BOOSTER, check out for 10% off your one-time purchase or first coffee club order. Quickly, David, what's your favorite flavor?
I'm drinking Gunship right now, but my favorite one is probably Silencer Smooth.
Oh, man, you never hear it coming. But
I also have, what do I have?
It's delicious.
Blackbeard's Delight at the house right now, too.
Pirate's Life for me. Blanya, what about you?
I'm a big Power Llama guy.
You are, that's what I heard.
Big Power Llama. I believe in the power of llamas.
That's great. It's blackriflecoffee.com. Promo code BOOSTER for 10% off. Black Rifle Coffee, America's coffee. All right. So, let's go. Are we going to go ahead and make our early picks right now? Is this what we're doing?
You want to talk props?
I guess
I already told you I'm picking the Chiefs, so.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Chiefs too. But I guess the first thing we should do is start with the first touchdown score.
Of course.
And who better? I mean, look at that face right there. But my question is, is this something you're saving?
Hold on.
Are you going to give this to the people 2 weeks early, or are you saving the first
To be honest, I don't like giving this to the people at all.
Okay. You're selfish like that. Because, see, I thought we were all in the trust tree.
We are.
I thought you were, quote-unquote, a man
we
of
are.
people.
No, look.
And now you're trying to hold out on the first touchdown. You've been unbelievable this whole season.
To quote the greatest rapper of all time, let's say Yamaka, man. No cap.
I mean,
No
look,
cap.
I hope the Booster Club stays paid, and the only thing that kills them is old age. Look, I want nothing but the best for our guys. I know that, but
well, then why don't you give them the first touchdown
I put up
score?
a first touchdown score on here, it doesn't hit.
Benedict
And every
Arnold.
Every time I don't do it, it does hit. But, for the people, I will do it. I can tell you right now what it's going to be. I take one from each team. All right? One from each team. We're going to go pretty Reggie here with the 49ers and give me CMC.
Yeah, it's a smart play.
That's plus 380.
Plus 380. Not excited about it. Okay? I'm not. All right? But you flip it on the other side. All right? Everyone's Travis Kelce this. Travis Kelce scored the first touchdown last game.
Yeah, he
did.
Stars show up when it matters.
Back shoulder.
Not the first touchdown. All right, you know who it's going to be?
Rashee Rice.
It's going to be Rashee Rice.
I love it.
All right?
I'm with you.
That's
Right
plus
there.
900.
Plus 850. Yeah, plus.
I'm with you right there.
It just feels like a screen to Rashee Rice. All right?
Christian McCaffrey, anytime touchdowns, minus 205.
Christian McCaffrey,
He's already got a touchdown.
Christian McCaffrey plus 2 touchdowns, plus 320.
Yeah, hey, let's keep going.
I hit
Christian
that last
McCaffrey for 3 touchdowns, which is not insane with the way he's been playing and how much they use him in the run game. Plus 750. So even 3 touchdowns in the Super Bowl for C-Mac doesn't get you plus 1,000 odds.
The one thing that worries me is sooner or later, Justin Watson's going to score the first.
See, I was looking at Justin. I mean, you look at him, you're like, this is the last guy that's going to catch the first touchdown scorer. I'm going to go one on each team, David. All right. And I'm with Blaine with the Chiefs. I think it's Rashee Rice. I think it's 100% correct if the Chiefs do score first. If the 49ers score first, let me tell you who it's going to be. Use check.
Use check?
It's never.
He's not a fullback, by the way. Like, he just, this guy.
That's some bang for your buck. What's it
basically
at,
just
Nate?
another,
Plus
you're a slot
7,000.
guy.
Plus 7,000? Yeah.
Did you see the toe tap that he had yesterday?
I'm telling you,
like you're a
Kyle?
slot receiver basically.
Kyle, he's got a lot more witch in him than what people know. But that's at plus 7,000. You throw a C note on that? You throw a 100-piece on that?
How about Chiefs defense? You were talking about a turnover,
Man,
pick six. That's plus 3,000.
Which one's it going to be?
Yeah.
Which one's it going to be? But see, Patrick, man, he just doesn't make big mistakes in these games. So if I'm going to guess, that tip pass, I keep talking about it. I wish I could make a bet, not only would the Chiefs defense score, but they would score off a batted ball.
Well, I've hit the Travis Kelce anytime touchdown the past 2 weeks, and that's actually in minus money now too, minus 125. But the first touchdown for Travis Kelce would be plus 600. You know he's scoring in the Super Bowl with Taylor Swift.
With Taylor Swift, yeah,
he's going to
without a doubt.
Yeah, he's going to score.
I would be surprised if she scored.
Kelce 2 touchdowns is interesting too because that's plus 450. So anyway, that's those are the touchdown props. Some interesting Super Bowl specials here. Last play of the game to be a quarterback kneel. Yes, minus 165. No, plus 125.
Feels like a field goal, doesn't it?
Yeah, and a
I would love to take no on that.
A walk-off field goal for either team, I think, is plus 800.
Plus 800?
Hold on, I just had it.
That I would rather take that. If I had to pull one. By the way, who are the psychopaths who bet even or odd?
Yeah, I don't know.
That is just.
What, numbers?
Yeah.
Well, I bet I hit a...
well, you did the square, like
the
what
square,
the last numbers. That I get that.
Yeah.
Right? But like, even or odd, I want to meet somebody who bets that.
I mean, you're either betting red or black.
Man, like there's no feelings. Like I know
no
people,
feelings in the bet game.
No, I'm just talking about like I'm sure you probably look at percentages or whatever. I've just never met anybody who's like, yeah, man, I just
don't feel like this game ends
even.
with a field goal. I'd probably bet the quarterback kneel. I just feel I can already see Patrick Mahomes taking a knee.
You think so?
I can already see it. Either that or Jake Moody missing.
Well, I mean, how can we have the walk-off Travis Kelce touchdown where he proposes to Taylor Swift? Like that.
I think they get Taylor to come out and take a knee.
Taylor comes out and takes the knee.
Travis takes the knee to Taylor.
Did Blaine just figure it out?
You put Taylor in.
They're going to put Travis Kelce at quarterback to knee it out and then run Taylor Swift on the field, and Travis Kelce's going to take a knee and pull out a ring and put it on the ball.
Like, how do you top that next
and then
year?
get vaccinated?
Like, you're creating,
Travis retired. He's done.
You're creating. No, I'm not.
If they
talking,
win
I'm
it,
talking about
He didn't have to play
NFL.
football anymore.
Yeah.
No, do y'all think? No, that's a great question though. Does Travis Kelce retire after this game if they win?
If he proposes, for sure, they're done.
Yeah.
It's over.
Well, his life's
And his brother and he and his brother just have a podcast then.
And you're married to Taylor Swift. No, you want to talk about alimony?
Well, engaged.
You want to talk about,
gotta see if it goes
engaged.
through.
Just, yeah. Well, we'll see what happens after 2024. But can you imagine, like you talk about a buyout. We always talk about coaches' buyouts. Man, I just want to get to my first buyout. Bro, as long as like you don't screw it up and cheat on her or whatever, can you imagine how much money you get divorcing Taylor Swift? It's 2024. It's even Stevens, man.
Oh yeah, look. If it's
Like you think the amount of money Travis Kelce would make in a divorce settlement with Taylor Swift would dwarf what he made in the NFL.
oh look, I'll be 6 months in and she hits me.
Her cat is worth more than he is.
Say that again?
We
Taylor
know.
Swift's cat
Relax.
is worth more than Travis Kelce.
No, it's not.
No, look.
That's what I've seen.
What does that
you
mean?
believe
Like,
everything?
they
Yeah.
set
I don't
money
know.
aside in the cat's bank account. He can't spend any of
You
it.
know how much money Travis Kelce is making right now?
He's making a lot. Do you know how much money Taylor Swift makes?
Well, okay, yeah, that's different.
Yeah, it's one thing to be rich. It's another thing to be like the Prince of Saudi Arabia.
Taylor Swift is doing a concert in Tokyo
the night before.
the night before.
The Super Bowl?
She has to fly. What was it, like 16 hours ahead or something?
Something like that. And if she flies back right after the show, she'd land at like 5 p.m. the day before, because Tokyo's so far ahead in time.
Like I've always wondered like how concerts, like how going over there and singing in English, like to people in a different.
They
I've just
still
always
love you.
found that like if they were like, hey, guess what? The biggest German rapper is coming
I'd
to
go.
Nashville.
That's why that proves the melody.
I wouldn't gotta be like, I don't understand a word he's
Should
saying.
have let him in art school.
Yeah.
Do y'all think either quarterback in this game throws for over 300 yards? Brock Purdy over
Yeah,
300,
I would say Patrick Mahomes can throw over 300 yards.
plus 240.
Yeah, I mean, what's the over? His Brock Purdy's is 240. What's Patty?
No,
260?
Pat's.
Pat's is 240?
No, this is on the alt line. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Plus 240 if Pat throws for over 300 yards.
I would take
Plus
that.
370 if Brock Purdy throws for over 300 yards.
I'd take Patrick. If
I
there's
like
going to be a quarterback who does it, it's going to be Patrick Mahomes. We
Yeah.
saw Jared Goff throw for 270. You know, against you tell me Patrick Mahomes doesn't have 30 more yards in him?
Well, the way these guys are playing, I mean, MVS is going to play like that. I mean, who the hell knows?
Nobody wants to watch a Super Bowl with no points. All right, Roger Goodell's not going to let that happen. The refs aren't going to let that happen.
There'll be more pass interferences. More hands to the faces. More, hey, you looked at him twice before he went 5 yards. That's a 3-yard penalty and automatic.
That's a
first down.
defensive guy for sure.
Yeah, if you
y'all
look at
make
Patrick the wrong way.
Yeah.
Now, Brock's line's 246, Pat's is 262. Also, the largest lead of the game, 13.5. You like the under on that?
I don't think anybody's getting. I don't
Close
think anybody's
game?
getting 2 scores up. I'm talking about like 2 touchdowns up.
Successful 2.
I really like receptions. I believe Travis Kelce right now is at 4.5
Really?
over under. I really like the over.
What's
could
that?
ladder
Minus
that.
265.
I have to go look. I just had it. Now
I love that bet. I loved your. I want to almost take one like you took last week with the Rashee Rice gets a reception and Zay Flowers get a reception.
plus 200 in the first quarter.
Plus 200 in the first quarter. I couldn't believe that.
Oh, I had a nice one in Lions 49ers, both teams to have a rushing touchdown.
Okay, I lied. All right, this is
Plus
what.
money.
That was at plus money.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Really?
I think it was plus 100. Plus
And that's really
150.
nice. I was wrong.
Parlayed
All right,
those
Travis
together.
Kelce, and I still like the over in his receptions, 6.5.
Okay.
It's minus 130.
What do you have? 11 last game.
I think he had somewhat close to that. Debo Samuel over 4.5 receptions, had 8 receptions last game. I really like that. Rashee Rice over 6.5. I'll probably take that as well. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, I know he's got to catch it, but over 1.5. I mean, you're playing 4 quarters of football.
Well, yeah, but like typically they're just like, hey, just run deep on this play. We're just
Yeah.
gonna throw it to you once just to do it.
Make the biggest catch of the game, but you only
Yeah.
get one.
Yeah.
Well, it's like they're like, hey guys, it's the biggest moment of the game. Who are we gonna go to? Like, look at Travis. Like, no, not Travis. Like, oh, hey, man, what if we give it to Pacheco? No, not Pacheco. And then just go over. It's like Rashee Rice, man. He's been having a big year. It's like, no, and then it's just Marquez Valdez-Scantling. They'll never see it coming, right? It's like that's a crazy idea, but it just might be crazy enough to work, and it has. You remember how bad this
huge
man was
plays.
missing? This man wasn't dropping balls. He was running to like where the ball wasn't. Like that's how bad it was for a little bit. But before we move on, talk a little Senior Bowl, which we're super duper excited about that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Talking about money and trust and what to do with it. Look, you want to maintain control of your assets and you want to ease the burden on your loved ones. God forbid something happens. All right, an estate plan can ensure that your family stays prepared and protected. And our friends over at Trust and Will do that for you. If you're looking for a way to set up your estate to offer financial benefits and more, then you need to check them out. Look, we know traditional estate planning costs thousands of bucks. All right, it can be a lot more expensive than what people think, and many one-size-fits-all solutions may not capture all the important details of the life you built. And with Trust and Will, you can protect your legacy from the comfort of your home starting at just $159. And they simplified the process of creating and managing your will and trust online to find out what's right for your family to finalize documents with the notary. David, you've got a growing family.
Yep.
I'm hopefully starting one here soon. Blaine, I think eventually will. Who knows? But just talk about the importance of getting this done, man. Just, to help you sleep at night.
Yeah, no doubt. It's too important not to do, just to take care of your family. And what's great about this is they make it easy, right? I mean, Trust and Will makes this process as simple as possible for you, which is great because this is one of those things that's so easy to put off. It's so easy to procrastinate. And people hear this and say, oh yeah, that is something important. I need to do that. And then you're immediately on with all of the fires that you have to put out in your life. And if you have kids, going home and having to deal with all the chaos that it takes to actually raise a family is too important not to do, though. They make it easy.
Without a doubt. So secure your assets and protect your loved ones with Trust and Will. You can get 10% off plus free shipping of your estate plan documents by visiting trustandwill.com/crane. That's trustandwill.com/CRAIN. That's 10% off and free shipping at trustandwill.com/CRAIN. All right, boys. Senior Bowl living,
Yes.
the tuna dip,
Reese's.
hanging out with Jim Nagy, right? Hitting the old stomping grounds. But these rosters, especially David, at the quarterback position, are loaded. And one team has maybe the best quarterback roster I've ever seen.
National team.
Yeah. Michael Penix Jr.,
Yep.
Sam Hartman,
Yep.
Bo
And
Nix,
Bo Nix.
all in the same group. Now you look on the other hand, some pretty good guys on that end as well. I'm just excited to see how deep this class really is. Spencer Rattler's a guy I'm excited to watch, but what kind of stands out to
He's
you?
on the American team, as is Michael Pratt from Tulane, Joe Milton, Joe Milton, the second is, and Carter Bradley from South Alabama.
Yeah. Got to get that. Look, it's in Mobile. You got to get that South Alabama representation.
No, I mean, look, I won't be on the trip with you guys. I'm sad I can't go, but you gotta just tell me how Michael Penix Jr. is slinging the pill down
That watching him and we talked about Joe Milton. And I want to see Joe Milton on the nuanced throws and things like that. I feel like I already know, but I do want to see him throw the fastball. Yeah. Why do people go see Ricky Vaughn, Major League? Because he's throwing the heater. Give him the heater. I want to see Michael Penix Jr. do it, but there's always a couple guys that step up, not just at the quarterback position. And I'm just as excited about watching the OLDL one-on-ones. And I was the wide receiver one-on-ones with the DBs. That's cute. Y'all run around, do all that nice stuff.
Wait, what?
But we know where the money's made. It's the one-on-ones up front in this quarterback group. And Blaine, I'm excited to see him operate.
Yeah, I agree. I'm pretty excited about his wide receiver class coming through here.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at some of these names. I mean, Tez Walker, congratulations to Tez actually getting to play football.
Yeah, it was just a disaster.
Really excited. Xavier Legette from South Carolina. I think he's going to be a good NFL piece. And look, the one guy we will always watch, especially me, your boy Ladd McConkey is going to be out.
Yeah.
We saw Ladd, healthy in that bowl game, and he looked like the Ladd McConkey we're used to seeing. I'm excited about that. Ricky Pearsall from Florida, who's an absolute dog, who's an absolute problem. I think he's going to have a pretty good, healthy career. NFL, Johnny Wilson from Florida State, who's an absolute.
Keon Coleman,
Javon Baker from UCF. There's a lot of underrated. I don't think Keon Coleman's going to the Senior Bowl.
No, is Keon not?
No, I don't see his
name
on the list. Here's the wide receiver group just on the American team alone. Listen to this. Xavier Legette, Ladd McConkey, like you mentioned, Marcus Rosemy-Jack-Saint, Aniyah Smith, and Johnny Wilson. Johnny Wilson, all on just the American team.
I mean, and one name we haven't brought up, and he's one of your guys, Dave, and that's Roman Wilson.
Yeah, he's on the national squad.
Roman's on the
national y'all remember?
A bunch of big plays.
Y'all remember last year when we went down there and watched Tank Dell, and he was as little as little could get, but they couldn't touch the man.
Well, the two key names that we brought up while we were down there were Tank Dell and Jaden Reed.
Yeah.
Right?
And what they did.
I watched Jaden Reed in one-on-one, and guys, if you've coached it, right, you can just look at a guy and know. All right? You take a couple steps off the line of scrimmage and know. And Jaden Reed, no one could touch that kid into a phone booth if they wanted to. So those two guys, and I'm interested to see what guys kind of stand out like that this year.
Yeah, and there's always, we talk about underrated guys. It was the guy from North Dakota State last year who I really liked, the big red-headed giant that they put out there. But watching some of these mammoths go at it on these one-on-one offensive line and defensive line drills. I mean, you remember seeing Paris from Ohio State last year. I feel like everybody, if you haven't gone to an NFL game, obviously you've been to college games and all that stuff. You've seen big offensive lines. Georgia's massive. Bama's massive. But it's almost like going to an NBA game. You don't get an appreciation for it unless you go down and you see the guys and the way they can move. That's the most incredible part to me. But look, let's be honest. The practices, the game's great. We love the game. It's a lot of fun. But the practices are what is what's going to matter. And obviously, the deeper the rosters are, the better the talent is, the better the competition is. And I think Jim Nagy and what they've done, it gets better every single year. Shout out to Molly Middleton as well. It's just a fantastic experience. And I'm so glad that they kept this thing in Mobile. Hope it stays in Mobile forever. You feel like it's kind of attached to the city, especially now that South Alabama has their own facility there and on-campus stadium right there to be able to host it. So it's just a great event.
Jim Nagy does such a great job with that, and he's always been so good to us. I'm looking at someone like Spencer Rattler this week, too, who can benefit so much from the meetings and the practices, just getting to know the people who are going to be drafting from the NFL, because, there was this criticism of Spencer Rattler when he was at Oklahoma. We kind of know what happened with that situation. Big ego, maybe not totally a team guy. He comes over to South Carolina with Shane Beamer, really completely revitalizes his image, and lo and behold, he plays better on the field. That's not a coincidence, right? He got himself together, and I think, a lot of people are going to be looking at Michael Penix Jr. and Bo Nix. Spencer Rattler's the type of guy who can benefit greatly. That's what this game and this week of practices is for you to go wow the guys who are going to be drafting you.
Yeah, well, we talked about this during the year. I know South Carolina didn't make it to a bowl game, but I don't know if there is a more important player to his team outside of Jaden Daniels than Spencer Rattler was in South Carolina. I mean, he did so much single-handedly with that awful offensive line, right? Struggled to pass protect. Couldn't really run the ball. Leggett, to me, and obviously Trey Knox at tight end, but he was beat up, was his only real legitimate weapon. Juice Wells was hurt, who we know has now transferred to Ole Miss. So interested to see him with other NFL players around him, where it's kind of more of an even playing field, where he does have protection and things like that. But Blaine, I'm interested to see Sam Hartman, and how his game kind of translates. There's some questions about his arm strength. We know at Notre Dame it didn't end the way that they wanted it to end, with a chance to go to the college football playoff. They had those tough games and then finally dropped that one to Louisville that really knocked him out of it. But how do you see Sam Hartman translating to the NFL? Do you think he's just a backup? I haven't seen enough for me to say, hey,
I don't think
Sam Hartman is good enough to be an NFL starter.
God, this might be a wild take, but to be honest, I'd probably rather prefer Spencer Rattler over Sam Hartman.
I would too. That's not a crazy take.
I just think. I think it's so different from Sam. Coming from the Wake Forest system was so different with the way they read that zone, that mesh play for so long. Then you go to Notre Dame. They'd have a bunch of weapons on the outside. But I think he looked okay. I think he's going to be a backup in the NFL. I don't think I'll ever see him as a starter. Well, he's kind of reminds me of a little bit less of a Jared Stidham. That's what he kind of.
Well, I've heard people say, "Oh, he's exactly like Brock Purdy." I'm like, nah. I think Brock's a little more athletic.
Brock's more of a gamer.
Yeah. Well, I think Brock's got a little more, I use the word quick twitch, but Brock, I think, has a little bit more versatility in his athleticism, if that makes sense, than Sam Hartman. And you bring up a good point. I know Notre Dame didn't have a ton of weapons on the outside. People say, oh, look at all these turnovers that he had at Wake Forest. Well, I don't think you guys realize they had to throw the ball 60 times a game at Wake Forest. Like, Sam Hartman had to throw them to wins at Wake Forest with that slow mesh RPO. It was a totally different system than what he'll have in the NFL. But and I know people say, oh, well, this happens all the time. There's nothing that stands out to me really about Sam Hartman other than he was solid. Solid college quarterback, very good anticipatory thrower, not plus in arm strength, not plus in athleticism. I don't know. I don't know how well that's going to translate to the next level.
A couple things he has going for him. He would probably have a pretty high floor. I don't think he's
smart guy,
awful smart guy, and a lot of game experience. That would help out a lot. For Sam Hartman to have success in the NFL, though, I think he would have to take that next step in his game, right? Where some of these other guys are going to be able to come in and play right off the bat. Now, no one is good enough ever coming out of college that they're just automatically a surefire thing in the NFL. They all have to develop and get ready at the next level. Even look at the strides that C.J. Stroud took in this one offseason, getting ready to go into his NFL season. Saw some little minor changes in his motion and just the way that he was able to pick up offenses, that kind of stuff. And he had one of the best rookie campaigns we've ever seen. Can he do that again? Can he do that in year two? So a lot of this is like, which one of these guys is going to take that next step? That's what it really takes in the NFL. The last thing I had to say previewing this week of matchups is the running back room on the American team. Listen to this. Ray Davis from Kentucky, Cody Schrader from Missouri, Jalen Wright from Tennessee.
They basically took the SEC East, and they're like, hey, give us the best running backs.
The one group I'm really looking at, if you look at it last year, is probably the best drafted group I've seen in a long time. The tight ends who got drafted last year were so deep. Dalton Kincaid, Sam Laporta, Michael Meyer, Luke Musgrave, Luke Schoonemaker, Darnell Washington, Tucker Kraft, Trey McBride. All these guys, Cade Otton, who balled, Isaiah Lackley, Jake Ferguson. The deepest tight end class I've seen in a long time. And then you look at this class. I mean, you got Brock Bowers, who's probably the better prospect in all these guys. But after that, who's a really guy you think of? I mean, the Texas
Brock won't even be in this game, though, right?
No, he won't even be in this game, just as a class in general.
Oh, yeah.
As a drop-off from when
just a drop-off. Were we just spoiled with last
Yeah, well, you have it. It comes and goes. I mean, look, it's just like I compare it to recruiting, right? Recruiting high school kids. Some years in some classes, man, there's a ton of really good quarterbacks. Sometimes there's not. Sometimes they're heavy on linemen. Sometimes there's not. It kind of comes and goes, and that's how it is in the Senior Bowl. It will always be like that. It'll never be exactly even. But, God, can you go through those names again?
Dalton Kincaid, Sam Laporta, Michael Meyer, Luke Musgrave, Luke Schoonemaker, Tucker Kraft, Darnell Washington, and Trey McBride.
God.
Yeah.
I mean, that's 8 deep. And Cade Otton, did you say Cade Otton?
I think Cade's second year for Cade.
Okay, I was about to say, I thought Cade had been there for a
I believe this is his second year.
I mean, that's still 7, 8
That's
deep.
the deepest tight end class I've seen in a long time. I mean, you got on a 2022. I mean, you got Cade Otton, Isaiah Likely. I mean, other than that, and then you go before that, you have Kyle Pitts and Pat Freiermuth.
Two totally different players.
Yeah, two totally. But this tight end class has been so deep. It's just going to be really weird to see not, 5 tight ends taking the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, we want to know what you think. Who is the player you are most looking forward to seeing? Which is the matchup you're most looking forward to seeing? Who can elevate their stock the most? I think the Michael Penix Jr., Bo Nix, who can elevate the most, who can separate, or maybe they'll both do well, or maybe they'll both do bad. Who the hell knows? But we're going to be able to see it all. We're going to have it covered all week. Really excited about that. But David, you want to get into a couple reactions?
Let's get into some reactions. The first one I have is a little bit late because I don't really watch the NBA that much anymore in the regular season, but Luka dropping 73 last week. Really incredible. 73 points. And by the way, he had 10 rebounds on that night too. So I wanted to pull up one stat here because, we all remember when Kobe dropped 81 points, which was incredible. Kobe scored 81 on 46 shots. Luka's 73 came on 33 shots. He also had 10 and 7 on rebounds and assists. Kobe on that 81 night had 6 and 2. Those are 2 of the most dominant performances we've seen. I mean, Luka really had one of the most dominant games in the NBA in the last 60 years.
Well, Kat just scored like what?
68. Joel Embiid
60. Joel Embiid scored 70. Like, is this now like? Here's the scenario, the question I'll throw out at you guys. We always make fun of the lack of defense in the NBA, but nobody can deny these guys are incredible at scoring the basketball. Playoffs, it gets a little bit different. Is scoring 60 points and 70 points now something we're just going to see a lot more of? And if that is the case, is the reasoning because the players are that much better offensively, or the NBA is that much worse defensively?
Has to be a combination of the two, right?
Right?
Has to be a
two
combination.
things can be true at once.
I mean, they can, but 70 points?
I feel like we'll always get better at scoring the basketball. Because if you're the NBA, you've talked about this earlier, people want points. All right, people want home runs.
What are you saying? The rules will be alleviated?
The rules are built for all. There's a reason all these guys.
I don't think that's good.
There's a reason why all these guys come from Europe over here and start. The rules in Europe are a lot different than what the rules are in the NBA. There's no paint, 5 seconds in the paint. In Europe, you can sit down in the paint as long as you want to. The NBA game system is built for offensive players to score.
Well, sure. I mean, look, it's a combination of a bunch of things here. One, people are always getting bigger, faster, and stronger as athletes, right? The goal has remained the same height. All the requirements in the game and the court size and all that has been the same. They moved the three-point line back a little bit, so that'll change some things from generation when it comes to shooting. But the goal's still the same height. And like you said, yeah, they always want to tweak the game to be able to score more and more points from an entertainment standpoint. And yes, we can talk about how the defenses, I mean, like I don't see a lot of the defenses like the old school Pistons used to play.
Yeah, Ben Wallace ain't walking out here.
But at the same time, like still 73 points. Like some guys, some nights a guy is just on. And also Luka did this against the Hawks. And the Hawks traded that pick so they could get 2 picks to get Trae Young that year, right?
Yeah. Oh, well, it's
correct. Yeah.
I mean, that's the team that.
Well, is it? I just wonder if we'll see it in the postseason.
No.
I don't think you will, because
referees
if there was ever a provable scenario in which you can say, outside of just using your eyes and optically, that the NBA plays no defense in the regular season and in the playoff ratchets it up. If nobody's scoring like 60, because I mean, you drop 30-something or 40 in the playoffs.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a big night.
Calling the game feels like it's so different in the playoffs than it is the regular season. I feel like the refs
I feel like it's different every game.
I feel like refs let a lot more go in the playoffs than they do in the regular season.
You think so?
Yeah, I think they'll call more.
They don't let more go in the postseason?
No. No, I feel like it gets actually more physical in the postseason because I think the refs.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, no, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the refs call it differently, as in they'll let hand checking, they'll let you get a little bit more physical guy, especially when he's driving. And 2, guys actually start trying on defense.
But to me though, not to get too philosophical with it, that goes against the whole point of why you would try and get, if you can manipulate the games to get more offense. Wouldn't you want more offense during the playoffs when more people are watching and the games are more intense? Like that is
you want better games.
I think every single game is officiated different. I think that way in college basketball. I don't know what a foul is game by game. They've tried to change the block charge rule 35,000 times. Still can't tell you. Just a bang, bang play.
Well, I can't tell you what pass interference is in football. I can't tell you what roughing the passer is.
Well, I could tell you what roughing the passer is and pass interference, even though pass interference is more difficult. I can tell you that more than when they, the way they call a basketball game. Sometimes they let them play. Sometimes they don't let them play. Sometimes within a game, they'll let them play for a little bit and then not let them play.
In a society that can't answer the question, what is a woman, are you surprised?
Not at all.
I saw someone say that Manu Ginobili is just everything, like he wanted to be Luka, right? That's what Manu Ginobili. Then someone said, yeah, Luka would be Menu Ginobili.
Menu Ginobili?
Hey, Ginobili was nice, though.
Oh, dude.
Oh, it got plenty of championships.
Hey, the guys out there who remember watching those Spurs teams with Tony Parker and Ginobili, when they're out there, I mean, Ginobili looks like, the guy who's going to pick up his fourth, kid in the carpool
That's the guys you need to be afraid of.
Yeah. Didn't he start the Euro? Didn't Ginobili invent the Euro?
Tim Duncan was on those squads.
Yeah, their worst player was Kawhi Leonard.
Oh, that was later. Yeah, that's right.
I mean, dude, the most important guy in the organization is the guy driving the bus and the pilot.
Give me one random NBA player. Just name one.
Name one
Just random.
Tony Kukoc.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's
that was
a
in
good
my
one.
mind, too. Tony Kukoc.
Who you got?
Hey, I went on Will Kane and just absolutely destroyed the random stuff. So
random one. People forget about.
That people forget about?
Yeah, it's good.
Tayshaun Prince.
Dog.
Tayshaun.
Absolutely.
I got Detroit on the mind watching.
You name
the
one.
Ravens this weekend.
Andre Karolinko.
There's a name.
You talk about a diehard villain.
There's a name.
That's a walking, like the fact that man, y'all put Boban in one of those moves and didn't put Andre Kirill. You could have kept the same name.
He was cold.
I'd be like, oh, hey, he's going to kill Bruce Willis.
Yeah, Andre was cold, too.
Yeah, he was cold. Played the NBA.
Like, no one, what people need to realize is, like, all these guys who don't even look good, they're really good.
Well, this is what I say. I don't have an NBA team. I don't cheer on a team. I don't cheer on, hey, all the white guys, oh my God, can't believe you made the NBA. I cheer on anybody that's 6'4" or under. Like, for you to be playing the NBA, man.
Let's see how many guys.
Like, that's amazing. Like, it's amazing. Look, 7-footer, like Victor Wembanyama. Like, obviously. The man's he's closer to 8 feet tall than 7 feet tall.
You know he was tall when Joel Embiid walked by him the other day and was like, man.
Did you see the courtside view of him?
Mm-mm.
Like, I just don't understand how you can't believe in extraterrestrials and then you turn that on. Just turn it on. Open your mind up, sit down, don't be so judgmental, and just watch that entity go up and down the court.
All right, I got the 6'4" guys here. Anthony Edwards.
Amazing.
Great player.
Jamal Murray.
Amazing.
Bradley Beal.
Incredible.
D'Angelo Russell.
Damn.
Derek White. Malcolm Brogdon. Marcus Smart. Jalen Green. Jaden Ivey. Dante DiVincenzo.
Yeah.
DiVincenzo.
Bruce Brown.
I'm going to shoot the ball.
Bruce Brown and Jordan Poole.
That's the
Is
list.
there anybody, who's the shortest guy in the NBA right now? Can you look that up?
Yep.
Who do you think it is? Chris Paul's out, right? He retired.
Maybe Jordan Poole.
Might be Sexton.
Colin Sexton. What's he, like 6'1"?
Okay, it's definitely not Muggsy Bogues.
Well, yeah, Muggsy Bogues could fit in a cupcake.
Colin Sexton's not a bad pick.
Who is it?
Take a guess. Guess how tall he is.
Kyrie Irving.
No. You don't have to guess a name. Give me how tall he is.
6'2".
5'11". Somebody's got to be under 6 foot.
It's 5'7".
Shut
In the league right now?
JJ?
Marcus Noel at 5'7".
He's 5'7"?
He's the shortest player in the NBA.
Doing the Lord's work out there.
No, it's my favorite player.
Doing the Lord's work.
I just found my favorite NBA player. Is he's actually playing in the NBA or is he on like some D League or G League or C League?
Marcus Noel at 5'7" is the shortest player active in the NBA today.
5'7". You know what's crazy? You could flip those numbers around and he'd still be shorter than Victor Wembanyama.
You know what's crazy?
nuts.
If he was
That's
6'5",
true.
he'd probably be the best basketball player ever to dribble.
5'7".
Oh, what did Kobe say about Iverson? We're just all lucky he wasn't 6'5".
Yeah. Well, it's like the thing is like, are you sure that's not the same guy who's the mentalist?
Yeah.
How did this happen? That's absolutely incredible.
Muggsy Bogues is 5'3".
Oh, dude, yeah. And was in Space Jam.
Yeah, monster.
That man can't get on a roller coasters out there playing the NBA.
He played his dad in the driveway one time and never grew.
Never grew. It's like the man went to Neverland but escaped.
Yeah.
But it like never wore off.
Yeah.
That's That was an interesting way to put it.
Wow.
All right, mine. I got a clip for you guys. Sexism is alive and well in 2023. Tell me, so let me set this up. This is an NBA game, okay? This is that game where they ask you to spell something.
Okay.
Now, you tell me that this isn't slanted toward the female. Let's go ahead and you're going to hear the female announcer first. She's got the two contestants on either side if you're on audio. Man, listen to this. Play this.
Alexis, your first word is sprain. S-P-R-A-I-N.
First word, sprain.
That is
Sprain?
correct. All right, Jacob, your next word is synovium.
Synovia?
Synovium? And watch this.
Synovium.
Get it, boy.
He got it.
He got it. Hold on, just wait.
She
Just
hates
wait.
was shocked.
Just wait.
It's stress fracture.
Stress fracture.
R-E-S-S-F-R-A-C-T-U-R-E. That's correct.
That's a four seam,
All right,
man.
Jacob, your word is a vascular necrosis.
What?
Look at his face. He's like, what? A vascular necrosis. And he gets it wrong. Now listen to this. The winning word.
Your final word is X-ray.
X-ray?
X-ray.
She got to spell X-ray?
X-ray. Man, hell no. Man, no.
Give me the mic.
No. Ain't no chance.
All right, hold on. There has to be something where this is like, is he on like the away team and is part of a shtick that
I don't care if he's on the away team, the home team, or it's a neutral site.
It can't be straight up competition.
You ask the girl, spell sprain. Okay, we're gonna start easy. Then you look at the guy and say, your first word?
Synovium.
Synovium?
You lost me.
I was like,
at
what
X-ray.
is synovium? Is that what they put into Wolverine?
I'd walk away.
I'd take the mic and walk away.
I'd walk away. No one gets it.
Man,
Absolutely ridiculous.
that's wild.
By the way, did y'all see the drone footage at the golf tournament where they were like, you know how like when you're watching golf tournaments, they're going to commercial, they'll show like blimp footage or like drone footage is going away, and it's like that musical start, and they're like, and we'll be back on a beautiful day in Willow Grove. And you know, so the drone's going back. It's obviously a live shot. You can see one of the guys, one of the fans that's walking around, sneak off in the woods and start taking a leak. Like as
you
the
sent me
drone's
that.
going off. I sent you that. in
Oh
the group
my
chat.
goodness.
Oh, no.
Yeah. On TV.
On TV,
Wow.
definitely.
Buddies will never let him live that one down.
Well, I mean, you know, what did they say? What did it say on Sandlot? Heroes come and go, but legends never die.
They do.
I absolutely that was awful. That was wrong.
But hey, I don't have a reaction, but I do have, guys, something
Appetite.
that y'all need to go watch. I don't know if y'all been watching, but the X Games.
See,
I saw some clips go.
Y'all-
is it winter? Is it the winter ones?
Walk outside.
It's February almost.
Is it cold?
But in like Russia, it could be summer
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
My
it's
dad.
the winter X Games. These people are just insane to me. I'm sorry. Like,
Which ones have you been watching?
If you well, snowboarding.
Like, well, my thing is like, how do you practice? Like, not that I've seen like gymnasts and snowboarders, they'll go in those like auditoriums and they'll go up on the thing and then there's like that big pool of soft stuff. Like, at what point do you go from that to, hey man,
Now this is where I could get hurt.
hey, it's Thursday. We're gonna go to the real ramp, and like below it's just earth.
I always thought that with dirt bikes.
That's so it's so hot. How do you
Snow's
practice?
not soft.
No, but like how do you honestly though? Like those guys that, you know, they go down, they're like this, and they're like
It's
Yeah.
jump
that
through the
one.
air.
Insane to
Like
me.
what how do you practice
Yeah.
that? I always felt like that's their first time doing it.
Do you guys think that they
Flying like
drug
this.
test the athletes at the X Games?
They don't need to.
Watch.
the X Games,
I
no
would
way.
drug test them to make sure they're on something.
Yeah,
They
that's the
don't. I
only
just
way.
checked.
Yeah. That's
They
the only.
don't.
I'd be like, hey, did
Don't
you
get me
take those
started.
shrooms today so you can make sure you
Don't
you
get
can
you
Yeah, let's
do
do
this
this
ollie.
and go jump 800 feet in the
That's the
air.
only way you
get
can
him to
do it.
No, that's the only way I won't do it.
Really?
Do you want to do from?
You
look,
think the
I've never
flag
done
football
them.
game hurts you?
I've never done
Jump
them,
off one
all
of
right?
those ramps.
I've never done them.
You'll be like Humpty
okay?
Dumpty or
But I
Mr.
promise
Potato
you,
Head.
if you do shrooms, the last thing you're ever going to want to do is be going fast and really high in the air.
Hold on, just for clarification, what have you not done? The 800-foot jump or the shrooms?
Anyway, guys,
hey, no, but seriously though, if anybody in the chat, I've literally wondered this, like on those high jumping ones, like where you hit the ramp and you go off. I don't care if it's skateboarding, skiing.
yeah, doesn't matter.
At what point are you? They're like, all right, Daryl, we know you want to do this in the Olympics. We've been training for 3 months. You keep going off this ramp, land in this ball pit, and we feel like you got it. That first jump, like maybe you just take lower jumps and lower jumps just to amp yourself up for it.
Right?
But
That's the way you got to do it.
But that first jump where you're going off that mega ramp, bro, like the amount of just guts it takes. Like we used to watch Evel Knievel do that, and people used to be like, ah.
Don't look at me. I don't even get on roller coasters.
No, look, me either. I hate getting on planes. You kidding me?
But
I
y'all
drive
want
the
to do
speed limit.
y'all should do shrooms.
I'm saying that's the only. The only
I
way.
like roller coasters.
But that's the only way I'd get on.
The only
my
way
God.
you are getting me up. The only way if they're like all of a sudden you're watching the X Games at your house. Like next up from Opelika, Alabama, Jake Crane, and y'all look at me and I'm up there. Either two things have happened. One, somebody slipped something in my Black Rifle coffee in the morning, and it wasn't me. Or two, they got my family, dog.
They got him.
Like, that's the only two ways. Who wakes up, wants to do it? It's like, you know what I would love to do? You know what sport I want to do, Dad? And I'm not making fun of them. God bless y'all. Somebody's got to do it. But it's like, not like, man, I want to be a baseball player. Like, you know, hey, Dad, I want to play in the NFL. It's like, Dad, you know what I'd love to do? Like, what's that sport where you go down the ramp and then you just shoot?
Maybe that's
Like
just because we're all
800
from
yards?
the South. Maybe like if you're from Colorado, if you're from Russia, you just like grew up doing that. They're like,
Well,
why
if you're
would
from
y'all?
Russia, you're
why
probably
would-
trying to
maybe
get
they say
away.
the same thing about us playing football. They're like, y'all are so dumb going out there and getting hit by
No.
other
See,
dudes.
like if it was in Russia, like to me, I think if I was born in Russia, I'd be like, it'd be my plot to get away. They'd be like, hey, where Jake? I'd be like close to the border. I'd be like, see ya.
Yeah.
Just land.
I don't know, man. Some
I'm trying to
people
think
are
what
just
Russia
like-
is.
Some people are just built like that, man. Like
Yeah.
some people want to skydive. Some people wake up
I
and
do.
want to go hang gliding.
Well, here's
Yeah,
the thing.
like
When you
TJ.
skydive, you have a parachute. You go off that thing, it's you, skis, and two sharp sticks.
And God.
And God. Whichever one you believe in.
If I did it, they could never zoom in on me.
Oh.
It would be me screaming.
Hey, true story.
Terrified.
True story, quickly before we wrap up. So I like I said, I dated a girl who was from Colorado. And I had never snowboarded before. I'd skied on water, like wakeboarded before, kneeboarded before on water. So I got to Colorado the first time, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna take you snowboarding." So I'm like, "Awesome." So we get out there, and we go to the slopes, and they're like, "Hey, we got you a helmet. We're gonna strap a GoPro on, and it also records.
What are you saying?
You can hear what you're saying, just because we think it'd be funny on your first time, whatever." So I'm like, ha. So I'm going out there and I'm like amping myself up. She's like, listen, it'll be good. You'll just be able to stand up. You won't have to go really fast. I'm like, no, I don't know how many times I'll get a shot at this. I want to at least go up a little jump, like just a little one. Like, it isn't going to be much. You know what I'm saying? Nothing. I'm not talking anything crazy. I'm not trying to be like the flying tomato out here. So they strap me up with the GoPro on my helmet. You know, everybody's laughing. I got all my stuff on. I'm on the snowboard. I'm figuring it out, right? I'm able to go a little bit faster and faster. So y'all know me, I don't like heights. I just don't like it. So she's like, all right, I'm gonna take you this thing. We're gonna go around it and then we're gonna go do the jump. So I'm like, all right. I didn't realize all the things that I had said, like when I almost fell. But when we did the jump and I fell, the words that I used, I just hope God strikes them from the record at the end. But when we went back and watched it and listened to it, like I literally
There's a tape of it?
I hope they destroyed it.
Oh, we've got.
I got another story
tape.
with a tape with that family I can't say on here, but it's a funny one.
We've got to get the tape.
It's a funny one. But no, the things I said, especially when I fell, like that snow, don't get it twisted.
It's not.
Like when you, as a kid from the South, and you used to go to the skates there and you'd fall and you'd be like, man, I wish this was real snow, not this fake stuff because it hurts. Man, it's worse. It's like concrete. I know, true story.
Tough.
It is. A lot of candle. We appreciate you guys. Wow, that was pretty impressive what I just did. We appreciate you guys. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're at the Senior Bowl all week. We're going to be live tomorrow morning. Booster Club, Trust Tree, friends. Make sure you check out some of that merch. Go buy that hoodie. Check out those candles. Make sure you check out all our fantastic sponsors, Black Rifle Coffee included. We appreciate y'all. We'll check you tomorrow. And like us not going live from the Senior Bowl the rest of the week, we're going